So, that was the Cheltenham that was. Shocks, spills, thrills, controversy, and even a big Paddy Power sign. But now that dust has settled and we can take some account of what's actually happened, we can safely say it was arguably the hardest Cheltenham Festival for punters in existence ever. Okay, I actually did alright. You know, I managed to make a little profit, but just look at some of them results that were thrown up at the whole festival. There were so many big traps there. I just wonder how many people did go bust with Dunguib in only the first race. And one must wonder how Clive Smith must be feeling right about now, going into the festival with no less than 2 bankers, only for the British weather to deny him and Mastermind for being too sunny, and later on in the week Kauto Star for being too wet. But back to Dunguib. He's a horse that always looked unbeatable at one point. He had the engine, the preparation. That said, he did make a few mistakes en route to the Supreme Novices, but nothing that really made you think that he wasn't going to win. Or certainly not in my mind, anyway. But those mistakes reappeared again, and this time they did cost him a surprise. However, these mistakes did manage to cost him, and all of us who backed him, the ultimate prize of more Cheltenham Great One honours, and that, according to John McCruddock at least, a rookie jockey was also to blame. Now personally, I would actually blame whoever gave the order to track the field out wide. Tom O'Brien had made a point earlier in the day in the Racing Post that he might actually make himself vulnerable to those errors that he did eventually make and tire out by tracking him wide. But by getting covered on the inside, whereas eliminating that problem, or tiredness at least, could have given him some traffic problems. What we can see from the closing stages, not here of course, we haven't got the Racing UK picture rights, but that Dunguib was in fact staying on, perhaps a bit one-paced. He might have had the horse to overcome the traffic problems anyway. Whoever, as I say, was responsible for making the call to not go on the inside is to blame for the defeat of the alleged good thing of the whole festival. Whoever it was, the owner, the trainer, or the jockey, whichever one it is of the three, they must take the blame. That is, of course, in my very humble opinion, and apologies if this offends absolutely anyone, including, of course, surprise, surprise, professional jockeys. Well, as for the champion hurdle, well, what mugs we were all made to look like. Binocular didn't act up to Cheltenham Hill, we thought. Binocular might not be fit enough to beat the best hurdlers in the business. Some even thought Binocular wasn't good enough to win the champion hurdle if he was fit or not. But win it he did. The exception of the Irish horse Solwit, who was rather unfortunate to have a rather hindered interruption. Well, in fairness, indeed, the whole Burn stable is having something of a barren spell at the moment. And perhaps Binocular stablemate Zanar, who's crying out for a trip, perhaps he appreciates a little bit further. There were some smart horses made to look mightily ordinary. That said about Solwit, however bad his preparation was, Binocular's was seemingly worse, drifting out to the notorious 999 to 1 and Betfair. We ventured to Cheltenham on Wednesday to see a cracking card headlined by no less than 4 Grade 1s. However, one of the most memorable moments was the vintage spectacle of the National Hunt Chase, which featured in this renewal the ride given by Katie Walsh on Boca de Zavola. Looked like this bay gelding was in all sorts of trouble coming down the hill, turning for home, but relentless determination by Katie Walsh and remarkable bravery from the Ferdy Murphy charge after 4 grueling miles warmed even the meanest of hearts. Pedlar's Cross made it a day to remember for the North, and then came the fun and games. The Sub made a reappearance at long last. The horses were out for the Queen of the Champion Chase, as you can see in our pictures here from the back of the Tattersalls enclosure. The chips were all down and masterminded, but only for Big Zeb to not only gatecrash the party, but to put the layers firmly in command.
Ladies and gentlemen, the parade for the 2010 running of the Season Holidays Queen of the Champion Chase. The one is Big Zeb. That's carrying everything the spring cotton together and all in the form from home on a murky train, big step with 1-2, with 4 dollars this season. And what a treat our freight raiders is to do them look at this day. Because there is a plan of their life, written by 18 McCoy on a hoop of regular train which is part of our season, part of the challenge train mission. Number 3 is Jordan Dunguib and Paul Bowler, Mark O'Leary, Jess and Mike Miller in Billy Lowry. Number 4 is Harry King, trained by Buddy Guthrie, Ramley, second and last is Number 5 is the previous fourth winner of Mahogany Blade, with Blinken, trained by Nigel Spencer Davis. Rider is Andy Brannan in the white colours with the blue sleeves of Kent. Number 6 is the dual champion, Mark Denman. The colours of 5 fit the green with the yellow spots, ordered by Ruby Walsh, who rides the trainer on the middle. Number 7 is Oak Creek, trained by Alberta, the winner of the Grand Annual of last year's festival. Rider is Wayne Hutchinson in the yellow and red. The French is already on to the post. Number 9 is the veteran Baltic. This 11-year-old was second last year behind Mark Linus, the winner of the 2004 Arsenal. The commander David Johnson, David Hyde Train. The rider is Jimmy Murphy. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the field for the 2010 Season Holidays Binocular Championship.
A bad day for favourite backers turned into a confused nightmare at the time of the Cheltenham champion bumper. Not only was the winner trained in Britain, but also it was a 40-1 Skinner. Although the way Colin Tizard was repeatedly talking about the winner cue card earlier in the day, he no doubt did rate it a 1-40 shot. But if only we'd listened. On to Thursday, well, the main events were won by Alberta's Run, who was absurdly overpriced considering his previous Grade 1 form, and beaten by the brilliant classy grade Morris Gordon last time out. Morris Gordon, talking of which, must go to Rangerby now with a big chance, you would think, of regaining his Melting Chase crown. Alberta's Run equally goes to H3 with a big chance of claiming that prize. And then there was at last some respite for odds-on backers, as Big Bucks won the Stayers Hurdle on the bridle. Literally. It didn't help me that Tidal Bay ran no sort of race, but there we go. It certainly helped Big Bucks, of course, but not me, and certainly not Howard Johnson. And so to the main event on Friday. Billed as a boxing match, they decided they were calling it, between the last two individual winners of the Cheltenham Gold Cup, Denman and Kauto Star. Denman now had the questions to answer, because Kauto Star had the best build-up, but by now Presbury Park was drenched in rain. It's typical of racing though to build up two great warriors with one or both being definite winners, only for neither of them to actually win. It's almost as if this little boxing match they had in store for Kauto and Denman turned into some sort of wrestling match, WWE style, with Imperial Commander hitting them both with a steel chair, and then romping away with the title in a triple threat match. But this was no triple threat match. We had a Grand National winner represented here as well, namely Bob Mome, who ultimately did much better than Kauto Star in the bare result. We had an RSA Chase winner in Cool Dean, trying to follow a similar path that Denman himself took back in 2007-2008, winning of course the RSA Chase in 2007 and going on to 3 Mile 2 glory in the Gold Cup in 2008. There were others as well, including of course the lovable Carruthers, who would have brought the house down, even though he was a big price for his famous racing connections, of course. He might have had some sort of chance of peak form. But to be fair, even I am surprised that Imperial Commander has nicked this, because, okay, yes, he did have great form around Cheltenham, but his close proximity to Kauto Star early in the season might have owed more to Kauto Star actually needing that run, rather than him definitely getting a trip of 3 miles. But there's certainly no doubt about that now. So long as he stays fit, with both Kauto and Denman rising 11 come Cheltenham 2011, there seems to be absolutely no reason why he can't dominate the Gold Cup scene himself for some time to come. None of those in behind had any excuses this time. It could be easily the same next time. But the most memorable feature of Cheltenham, apart from the racing itself, which we could go on about all time, well, as you can see, this belongs to these dancers in the parade ring. This was of course on the Wednesday, which we were actually present and correct at. Oh, and this gloomy Irish band. Stay safe.
Hello, the football party, yeah, from the afternoon.